Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is August 18th, 2022, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of today, the markets do retreat almost across the board. But first, looking at the major economic events of today at 2:30 South African time, out of the United States, we do have a Philly Fed manufacturing index number coming out. Now, this manufacturing index is basically an inflationary report from manufacturers. Now, looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the Japanese yen at the top of its range, and looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both do retreat. Looking at commodities, gold retreats, or oil unchanged. And looking at the stocks, Facebook remains the weakest. While lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin pretty much unchanged, just slightly lower. But let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're looking at the USD Japanese yen, and you can see it's at that top of the range and it's cornering in on the 30-day moving average, but that is resistance-ish area. So I do expect it to sell off here at these areas. So keep an eye on this as this develops later today. Now looking at the euro, not doing much, just slightly lower to that 152-ish level. If you look at the GBP USD, also lower this morning as it's breaking this area of 120, but this is happening just now. So this is something to keep an eye out as this is still unfolding. Looking at the Australian dollar, does sell further down. There is much more pressure on it than there was yesterday. So keep an eye on this as well as this develops. Now looking at commodities, gold trading at 1763. Not doing much here, but altogether it has retraced from our 1800. It's almost at that 50% level at that Fibonacci retracement, as you can see here. So this does still have way to go down. Now looking at crude oil, just unchanged here at $87. Really not doing much and consolidating here. Now looking at the U.S. markets, at the Dow Jones, retracing, but still above its 200-day moving average, so it does have some strength there. Now looking at the NASDAQ, is retracing this morning to 426 and has had a really decent ride up, and it's still in an upwards momentum, so just keep an eye on this, because if it does change character and it does get to a point where it's correcting itself, we may see a 50% correction. Now looking at the stocks, Apple did somewhat gain yesterday, but gave up its pairs of gains at the end of the day. But if we look at Facebook, you could see that it is weak, gapped down and did sell off. It's the first one to go down. So that is something indicative of Facebook, as we've been watching it for quite some time. Microsoft did retrace a little bit, but didn't break above that 200-day moving average, and that's a really important thing because Microsoft has really been the leader of the market, and if it doesn't, and it does retrace, we may see a correction coming up. Now lastly, looking at Bitcoin, just slightly over a 23,400-ish level. It's really in a very tight range, not doing much, but we do want to cover it because if it does have some sort of breakout, either below this 30-day moving average, we may see ourselves back in that low to 20,000-ish area, maybe 21 to 20,000-ish area, so keep an eye on that. So as the markets are really going into the latter part of August, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown, some retreat, some correctional moves as we get into September, October time, and that should be a turning point for the markets. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.